I told you there's a freshman guard in the ACC who literally outscored an entire team in the state championship game, then pulled up to Raleigh and started hijacking tempo off the bench like she'd been there 3 years. I'm talking about a kid who grew up in the gym her parents built from scratch, teaching little ones how to jab, step, and slide their feet before she could even drive a car. Tore her ACL at the worst possible time, dropped in the rankings, and then came back and said, cool, watch this. Arizona Desert, Open Division state titles, EYBL smoke, 37 in the championship. Now she's in the ACC wearing that number 7 for NC State, turning defense into gasoline and fast breaks into highlight clips. See, today we're talking about Destiny Ky'She Lunan, the architect of tempo. If you love guard play, if you love defense that leads to chaos, and if you're invested in how these kids fight back from injury and doubt, this is the one for you. Fam, what's up with the squad? It's Cess, your favorite auntie with Uncle Tendencies, and welcome back to Cess Talk Sports. Shout out to my loyal fam that keep pulling up, and if you're new around here, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you never miss a drop, and everybody, go ahead, like, comment, share, and hype this video so we know you pulled up. Today's episode is titled The Architect of Tempo, Destiny Ky'She Lunan's journey from the Arizona Desert to the ACC. We're going to walk through the full story. The basketball ingredients lab where her game was literally cooked up by her family. How Ky'She went from 3.5 steals a night as a freshman to EYBL monster and open division legend. The ACL tear that tried to derail everything, and the senior season that said absolutely not. Why NC State made sense, how she slid right into that Wolfpack backcourt, and why her first month in the ACC actually tells us about her future, and why I'm calling her an archetype for this new era of combo guards. Real quick, drop in the comments, tempo talk if you're here for film and feel, or desert to ACC if you're rocking with the full story arc. Let's get in the lab. To understand Ky'She, you got to start in the gym in Arizona. Destiny Lunan didn't just happen to get good at basketball. She was raised in a basketball ecosystem. Her parents run a program called Basketball Ingredients out in Arizona. That's not just a cute name. That is literally a philosophy. This is a spot built on footwork, ball handling, and hoop IQ. Not just let's get these kids athletic and let them run. We're talking about reps, reads, and habits, real fundamentals. Imagine being a kid and your playground is a gym where the grown folks are breaking down film, building drills, and teaching people how to move without the ball. That's Destiny's childhood. Here's the part I love. She wasn't just a customer. She was part of the staff. She in there training other kids, helping run sessions, explaining why you open up your hips on a closeout or how to read the heads in a pick and roll. That's where that coach's kid energy comes from. She's seeing this game through a different lens. So when you start to see numbers later like 3.5 steals per game as a freshman or 11 steals in a single high school game, that's not an accident. That's not she's just fast. That's years of learning how to read passing lanes and predict actions before they even happen. And out of this whole environment, this identity starts to form Ky'She. Let's talk about the nickname. Destiny Lunan, it's the government. Ky'She, that's the hooper. On the Arizona prep circuit, Ky'She meant two things. Somebody's about to get their dribble snatched and somebody's about to get attacked downhill. That name carries a vibe, sounds smooth, but the game, sharp. She's humble, very community-centered off the floor, working with unified sports, exceptional stars, volunteering with kids. But the second that ball goes up, switch flip. That's important for a guard because when we talk about archetypes, we're talking about more than stats. We're talking about energy. Ky'She is that guard who changes the mood of a game the second she checks in. You feel it. The crowd feels it. The other team definitely feels it. Fam, in the comments, I want you to drop the name of a guard you've watched, men or women's hoops, who just changes the air when they check in. That's the category we put in Ky'She in. Now let's slide into the numbers, because this is where the story really starts to separate her from a typical freshman. 2021-2022, freshman year at Millennium High School in Goodyear, Arizona, that program has already produced hooper royalty, including Raina Perez, who went on to NC State and hit some big-time shots for the Wolfpack. So this is a serious program, and Ky'She walks in as a freshman and immediately becomes a problem. Her stat line that year shows just how much. She averages 12.5 points a game as the second scoring option, pulls down 3.7 rebounds, dishes out 2 assists as her playmaking starts to develop, and most eye-catching of all, racked up 3.5 steals a game. Almost 4 steals a night in Arizona 6A as a freshman. That's not normal. That tells you a couple of things. One, she's not just trying to survive varsity minutes. She's tilting the floor on defense. 2, that basketball ingredients DNA is already showing up in live games. She's reading skip passes, digging down on drivers, timing her jumps perfectly. She's not waiting her turn. She's helping anchor a defense and setting the tone for Millennium's rise. And remember, at this point, she's already got that coach's kid mind. She's not just gambling for steals. She's rotating, anticipating, and then letting her length and quickness do the rest. So what do you do when you've proven you can dominate locally? You go test yourself nationally. For her sophomore year, Ky'She makes a big move. She transfers to Bella Vista Prep, which y'all know has a presence on the grind session and the Nike EYBL circuit. That's where the best of the best run it. That's where the games start to look like college, the pace, the physicality, the length, the travel. Numbers at Bella Vista show growth and adjustment against the higher level. She bumps her scoring up to 15 points a game. hovers around 3.6 rebounds, maintains an elite 3 steals per game, even with better competition, and adds a surprising 1.8 blocks per game. That's 4.8 stocks as a 5'10 guard. Almost 2 blocks per game from a guard? Listen, that screams recovery athlete. That means you might beat her on the first step, but you're not safe at the rim. She's tracking you and cleaning it up from behind or on the side. Now, the big moments at Bella Vista come on the big stages. First, the EYBL World Grind Session Championship. She don't just show up. She gets named MVP. That validates the whole transfer. That's Ky'She telling everybody, I don't just belong on this stage. I run it. Then in Chicago at the Nike Tournament of Champions, one of the top girls events in the country. Over 4 games, she drops 98 points, 18 assists, 20 rebounds, and 24 steals. If you do the math, that's 24.5 points per game and 6 steals per game against national competition. That's not a local tourney. That's the big stage. The Chicago stretch is where if you're a college coach, you circle her name in red ink. That's when you start talking top 30 potential type conversations. She's proven she can travel, she can hoop, she can lead. And then the part nobody likes to talk about, but we got to. Junior year. That's supposed to be the money year in girls recruit. That's when the rankings lock in. The big eval periods hit. The phone calls is humming. Instead, Destiny tears her ACL. Whole season gone. If you've been around this game, you know what that does to a kid's recruiting picture. Before the injury between Bella Vista and EYBL and the Tournament of Champions, she's trending as a top 30 type kid. After the injury and the missed year, the rankings cooled off. By the time the dust settles, she's floating in that 60 to 75 range on major recruiting services. Now, here's what I love about her response. First, she goes right back to the lab. Basketball ingredients becomes rehab central. Not just rehabbing the knee, but building out those support muscles, tightening up stationary mechanics, rebuilding confidence. Second, academically. She don't drop. She keep a 3.67 GPA in Millennium. That is not easy while you're rehabbing and still trying to be a part of everything. Third, she leans deeper into service, more coaching, more time with unified sports, more community. That's the character piece Gatorade always talks about when they give out those Player of the Year awards. So while her physical trajectory gets disrupted, her profile as a complete person gets stronger. She shows colleges she's not going to just pout. She's going to rebuild. Fam, drop resilient in the comments if you know how hard that comeback is, especially for a guard who lives on aggression and explosiveness. Now we get to my favorite part of the whole story. 2024-25 senior year, back in Millennium. She comes into the season with questions swirling. Is she still explosive? Is she still that same downhill problem? Will she shy away from contact now? The answer is a loud, unanimous hell no. Her senior stat line is wild. She averaged 21.2 points per game, grabs 4.5 rebounds, hands out 3 assists, and collects 4.2 steals per game across 30 games played, with 237 made field goals, which puts her up in that top 180 range nationally in total buckets. So basically doubles her offensive production for freshman year while increasing her defensive chaos. That's not just something back, that's something better. But the numbers still don't fully explain what she did in the open division playoffs. Arizona's open division is different. It's not just 6A versus 6A. That's the top teams from all classifications put into one bracket to get a real state champion. It's a gauntlet. And in that environment, Ky'She puts together a state championship performance that's going to be talked about for years. State title game versus Valley Vista, a powerhouse. Stakes, Millennium has never won an open title. History on the line. Final score, Millennium 57, Valley Vista 31. Destiny's line, 37 points. Valley Vista's entire team, 31. She outscored the other team by herself in the state championship game. That's not just hooping, that's control, that's tempo, that's dominance on both ends. That's why we're calling her the architect of tempo. She didn't just fill up the scoring column, she dictated every possession. And it wasn't a one-off. Look at some of these other senior year performances versus Corona del Sol. She records a rare triple-double with 21 points, 10 assists, 11 steals. 11 steals in one game is cartoon numbers. Then against Desert Vista, she goes for 34 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals. That's I will do whatever we need to win tonight energy. You're seeing the evolution from promising freshmen to complete two-way engine. And when you play like that, the receipts show up. After that senior season, Ky'She basically sweeps the state. Named Gatorade Arizona Girls Basketball Player of the Year. The big one that cites numbers like 21.7 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 4.7 steals, while also recognizing her character and earning Max Prep's Arizona Player of the Year for leading Millennium to a 24-6 record in that open division crown. In her region, she picks up both 6A Central Region Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, reflecting her two-way dominance. She's recognized nationally as a McDonald's All-American nominee, lands in the ESPNW Top 100 at number 65, and is ranked by 24/7 Sports as number 76 overall and the number 11 combo guard in the class. So yeah, the ACL knocked her off the top 30 darling path, but by the time she's done with senior year, she's still a consensus high major impact level guard with serious pedigree. Let's talk decision time. Even after the injury, the phone's not silent. Her final list includes some big names: NC State, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Arizona, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida, Colorado, Texas Tech. So how does she end up in Raleigh? First, the Raina Perez pipeline. Remember, both Raina and Destiny came through Millennium. Raina goes to NC State, wins big, hits iconic shots, fits perfectly into Westmore's system, and leaves a blueprint for what a guard from that program can do in the ACC. If you're Ky'She, you're looking at that like, okay, that's proof of concept. My game can translate here. Second, the system fit. Westmore likes guard versatility, pace, and spacing with that 4-out, 1-in motion. He needs guards who can defend, run, and punish mistakes. That screams Ky'She. Long guard, high steal rate, loves to run. Third, the field. On her visit, she describes NC State as feeling like home. That's huge when you're leaving Arizona for the East Coast. You need somewhere that feels grounded, somewhere your people can see you thriving in. So on November 15, 2024, she commits to NC State, and the story shifts from desert dominance to ACC crucible. Now we in 2025-26, and Ky'She is a freshman at NC State wearing number 7 in a backcourt that already includes Sam Jones and Zoe Brooks. This isn't a situation where she walks in and the keys are immediately hers. This is a stacked guard room. Minutes got to be earned. Early reports out of camp say 2 things. Her speed and explosiveness pop right away, and she needs to keep building strength for ACC level contact. On top of that, injuries in the front court like Tilda Trager being out push NC State into some smaller lineups. That cracks the door open for Ky'She as a defensive specialist and tempo guard off the bench. Let's walk through what she did in the first 8 games. Game 1 versus Tennessee, 80-77 win, neutral site in Greensboro, top 10 opponent, big spotlight, first college game, comes in off the bench and scores 5 points. That might not sound like a lot until you realize this is a 3-point game against a physical Tennessee team. Her minutes matter. She doesn't look rattled. She proves she can contribute in high leverage spots. Now let's look at game 2 at Southern California at the Allied tip-off, 68-69 loss. Now you're facing the long, talented Southern Cal squad at a neutral site. 7 minutes. Her line is 0 points with 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal. The shots don't fall, but notice the trend. Even in limited minutes, she gets a steal. That defensive identity travels. Game 3 versus Maine, 66-47 win. Home opener at Reynolds. This is where we get our first real look at her floor game. She plays 18 minutes, 0 for 3 from the field, pulls down 5 rebounds, dishes 3 assists, and adds a steal. This is the glue guard game. Even when the shot isn't there, she's impacting possession count, helping on the glass, moving the ball. Game 4 versus TCU, 59-69 loss. This the breakout. NC State struggles offensively, only putting up 59. The starters is grinding. Ky'She comes in and leads the bench with 10 points on 2 for 3 shooting. Hits her free throws and doesn't turn the ball over. Meanwhile, the entire TCU bench scores 2 points. She basically wins the bench battle by herself. This the game that screams, y'all might need to make room for me in the rotation. Game 5 versus Coastal Carolina, 71-58 win. Now we're seeing the consistency. 14 minutes, 6 points, 2 for 3 shooting, get to the line, adds a board, 2 assists, no turnovers. Efficient, controlled, poise. That's how you keep your spot. Game 6, Rhode Island, 63-68 upset loss. It's a tough one for NC State. But once again, Ky'She is a bright spot off the bench. 8 points, goes 2 for 2 from 3, nails both free throws. Huge because one of the questions in her scouting report was outside shooting. To see her step into 2 threes with confidence in a tight game against a team that ends up beating you, that's a good sign for the long-term development on the jumper. Then we go to the Cancun challenge in Mexico. Play 17 minutes. This is a 79-67 win versus Green Bay. She played 17 minutes. This is a quiet game offensively. 1 point, 0 for 2 from 3, 1 for 4 at the line, no rebound, 1 assist. Here's the key though. Still on the floor for extended minutes in a competitive game. That tells you that the staff values her defensive presence and her ability to keep the tempo where they want, even when a box score looks like. Game 8 versus Southern Miss, 110-56 win. Then the track meet breaks out, and she looks right at home. NC State hangs 110, sets a tournament scoring record, and Ky'She drops a career-high 11 points off the bench. When the pace goes up, she goes up. That's the pattern. Put it all together, and through 8 games, she's averaging roughly 5.1 points per game, with highs of 11 versus Southern Miss and 10 versus TCU, and multiple games where she's doing little things beyond scoring, rebounding, defending, disrupting. She's not just getting cardio, she's tilting games. So what exactly is the Ky'She effect that we keep talking about? It's a combination of 3 things. First, transition catalyst. She's most dangerous when the game breaks open. Off a rebound, off a steal, off a long miss. She either is doing pushing the ball or she's flying the lane, forcing the defense to make a decision. That's where those Southern Miss and TCU games come from. Once the tempo rises, she starts stacking points. Second, defensive disruptor. Her steal rate has been a calling card since she was a freshman at Millennium. That hasn't gone away. Coach Westmore can use her to pick up full court, heat up opposing ball handlers, and just annoy people. That kind of pressure doesn't always show up neatly in the box score, but it absolutely shows up in the rhythm of a game. Remember that triple-double in high school with 11 steals? That's not random. That's a signal of who she is as a defender. Third, high-variance bench score. Right now, as a freshman, she's volatile. Some nights, she's going to look like a freshman. It could be 0 points. Some nights it'll be 10 or 11. That's normal. But what matters is that when she hits in bunches. She can be that run extender. When your starters rest, or that break glass in case of offensive drought guard off the bench. Build more consistency in the shot selection along with the strength. Normalize the jumper like we saw versus Rhode Island. Maintain that chaos energy. And then we looking at a kid who's going to put pressure on the coaching staff to start them before the season is over. Long term, I see all ACC defensive team potential for sure. The instincts, the limp, the background, the role, it's all lining up. And we can't close this out without talking about who Destiny is off the floor. That 3.67 GPA in Millennium, that's discipline. That's time management. That's respect for the classroom. Her work with Unified Sports, her volunteering with Exceptional Stars, and as a youth instructor at Basketball Ingredients, that's leadership. That's empathy. That's using your platform to lift other people. Gatorade doesn't give those Player of the Year awards off stats alone. Character matters. Ky'She checks that box clearly. This matters in the era of NIL and branding too. When you've got a nickname like Ky'She, a story that includes injury, comeback, and community, and a game built on effort and energy, that's a brand you can build campaigns around, especially if she keeps climbing at NC State. She's not just good at basketball, she's good for basketball. So where do we go from here? As of November 30th, 2025, Ky'She has dominated Arizona high school hoops, including an open division title where she scored 37 and held a powerhouse to 31, has proven herself on the national circuit with EYBL hardware in a huge Chicago run, has come back from an ACL tear stronger than before, has earned every major in-state award you can think of, Gatorade, Max Preps, Regional Player and Defensive Player of the Year, and has landed at NC State and carved out a real role as a freshman in the loaded ACC backcourt, giving the Wolfpack energy, defense, and scoring punches off the bench. Right now, she's in what I call the acclimation phase. The counting stats are modest, but the impact is loud if you're really watching. The next checkpoints are to stabilize that three-point shot and keep building on games like Rhode Island to continue to add strength for ACC contact and to tighten up that decision-making to keep the turnover numbers low while expanding her role. If she hits those marks, you're looking at a future starter, a real tempo engine, and somebody I absolutely could see on an all-ACC defensive team and more. The architect of tempo has arrived. The foundation is laid. Now we watch the rest of the building rise. In the comments, let me know. Do you see Ky'She as a future all-ACC type guard? Are you more excited about her defense, her transition game, or potential as a shooter? Make sure you drop a comment with your thoughts on Ky'She and the architect of tempo blueprint. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and share this video with somebody who loves the game. Catch y'all next time on Cess Talk Sports, where we always bring you the latest on the rising stars and legends in the making. Keep hooping. Stay tuned. Talk soon. I'm out.